Hello, my name is Greg Dixon. I'm here with Roy Dickon, and today we call ourselves Total Traffic and Conversion. And our topic for discussion today is your Google business profile and posting to your Google business profile. But first of all, some of you may not have a Google business profile and may not know why you'd want one. So, Roy, could you talk to that a bit here?
Yes, I'd like to talk about, first of all, when it used to be Google My Business, which wasn't that long ago. It just changed to Google Business Profile lately, and it's a little different, but it does at least all the same things well. And how I got to know it was I was building websites for clients and attracting customers to them. And all of a sudden there was this new product that came along, which later became known as Google My Business. And the thing about this is I really didn't know what it was. And if you don't know what it is, this may help a little bit, and then we'll get into more explanation. But it's another Google property that works together with your website. So what happened was Google wanted me to have my clients try it. And I thought, well, eventually they're going to start charging for it. So, yeah, I want to have them try it, and maybe they'll get grandfathered in for no charge in the future. Well, they're still not charging for it. So the thing that works so well is, well, we'll take the best example. The client that was getting a reasonable amount of traffic each day, when we connected the Google business, well, it's called Google Business Profile right now, so we'll just call it that. When they connected Google Business Profile, the leads within just a couple of weeks actually tripled and stayed at that level or grew. So the combination of the two things is really good. Now, the reason that Google put this out in the first place, as best I can tell, and I've got a pretty good idea what Google's intentions are, they really wanted to help small local businesses have an internet presence, because basically all the big brands were grabbing page one, and rarely was a local business able to get on there. Now, you may not know what a Google business profile is, but I'll bet you've seen one. For example, if you do a search, let's say that you've got a cavity and you want to get it filled, and you put in dentist and you put in your local area. For me, it's Apex, North Carolina. On page one, part of page one, usually right near the top of page one, will be a map, and it'll be in color. So it's going to look different from the rest of the page. It attracts everybody's eyes. And there's going to be 3 dentists on there that essentially Google is recommending. And so that each one of those is a Google business profile, and each one of them also has a website. So what happens is the majority of a local business's clients or patients or customers usually come through the Google business profile. Now, if you don't have a website, nowhere near as much comes through. But when you combine the two, it's really effective. Because it's designed for a local business, and it works well even beyond local businesses, but it works best for local businesses, that for people that want to find you that are near you, you can establish your authority quickly with that. So what that means is, if you were a dentist, for example, and you wanted to show up in that map, then you'd want to have content on your Google business profile and on your website about what you do, so that people, when they searched for you, you would come up, and you would end up with a whole lot more people contacting you about your products or services. So it turns out it's a dramatic improvement over just a website alone. Yet, I would say the majority of businesses do not have one, or if they have one, they're really not using it effectively. It especially is important for anybody that gets most of their traffic locally. Most of the people that buy from them are in their general vicinity or in their state. Then it works extremely well. So if you wanted to set one up, for example, and we'll just get to that right away, all you have to do is go business.google.com, and voila, you can go in and follow the instructions. And within a matter of minutes, you'll have your application done to have your own Google My Business listing. We'll get into the value of it, but in case you didn't know what it was, that's what it is. And in case you didn't know why you need it, it's because a whole lot more traffic is going to find you. And the traffic that finds you in that case usually is interested in what you're offering and may well be ready to even buy it right off the bat. So it's a very, very important property to own.
That's great, Roy. And the other thing about it is our topic today is about posting. And so I think that is also, in order to keep your Google business profile active in the searches, and it's important to post. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This is probably one of the most important things you can do. And once again, most people aren't doing this effectively. So if you are, it will help you rise above your competition much more quickly. The thing that you want to do is tell people what you do and why they should be interested in what that is. A lot of you probably have a service or product that solves a particular problem. And a lot of people may want to know about your solution. And this is a good place to tell people about it. So why posting is so important is because, one, most people don't do it. And therefore they set up a Google business profile, if they even set one up, and they're not posting on it. So Google, after a while, thinks, well, how interested are they in telling people about their solution? And you won't rank as well. So posting will allow you to rank much more quickly and to stay there. And the best way of ranking is showing up in one of those maps where there are only three, usually only three, listings that will be in there. Now, sometimes somebody will somehow get an ad in there, and so there'll be a fourth. But I can tell you that if you're like me, you're probably not going to click on the ad. You're going to click on one of the other three. Now, to put this in perspective, page one of Google is a really dynamic place to be, and you're going to get a lot of business if you have a good solution. Just being on that page. But when you're in a Google 3-pack, if one shows up, if a map shows up on that page, and you're one of the three people that's in what I call the Google 3-pack, one of the three that actually shows, you will probably be sharing with the other two people over 60% of the clicks for that whole page, over 60% of the people that want to get in touch with you. They may go to your website. They may call you. You may have other ways they can get in touch with you. Over 60% of the people are going to go to those three. And all of the other people, mostly big brands, will share the other 40%. So there's just really nothing like it. And Google really did us a wonderful service if we want to get known locally. And to get known throughout the state, it starts locally. To get known throughout the country, it starts with your state. So that's the way a post can make this all happen. I recommend that you post once a week. You don't have to post any more than that. And you don't even have to post once a week to be head and shoulders above your competition, more than likely. But you want to look at what your competition is and see how often they are posting, just so you have an opportunity to get in that 3-pack. Posting is extremely important. You can tell people about what you offer. You can tell people about what's important to you. You can tell people about just information about your product that without even selling it, explain the value of that, no matter who they buy it from. And you can tell people when you have an offer, and you can do all of these with a post.
Oh, that's great, Roy. So, so some of us do posting on LinkedIn and Facebook and other places. Is there a difference between either the kind of posts you would put on those different platforms or what the results or how they would work?
There's a difference in how frequently you have to post, for one thing. Excuse me. When I say that once a week is going to serve you well with a Google Business Profile, on Facebook, 3 times a day would serve you well. In LinkedIn, 3 times a week will probably serve you well. You can get by with once a week, but you're in the upper echelon, but in the upper echelon, you're not very high on the totem pole. So first of all, the frequency of posting is not as important. Now, let me mention that the frequency of posting is extremely important overall. If you don't post at least once a day in Facebook, you're probably not even going to show up for many people, even your best connections. And the same thing with Facebook or with LinkedIn is if you don't post at least once a week, you're probably not even going to show up oftentimes for your level 1 connections. So when it comes to the difference, the frequency, while it's extremely important, and if it's Facebook, you want to be consistent, whatever you choose. If it's 3 times a week or 3 times a day, you want to continue that. With LinkedIn, you need to be consistent, and with Google Business Profiles, you do. But consistency at once a week is a whole lot easier than consistency at 3 times a week, and much, much simpler as far as being able to accomplish it as 3 times a day. So that's the beginning of it. Now, what can you talk about on each of them? Each of them has a different style in itself. So Facebook, people are primarily going there not for business. And so if you want to get their attention, you have to do certain things to interrupt them. And so images become very important, but not only just an image, but an image that really grabs their attention, and then a title that really grabs their attention. Now, LinkedIn is somewhat similar. If you could do it the same way, it would work well for you, but you don't have to be quite as domineering with your image and with your title. And when you go on Google Business Profile, your title really has to just really contain the keyword you want to be found for. Now, it's helpful to have that in the other 2 places too, but they have a little bit of a different presence. If you're if you're wanting to engage people, you can't really come right out and just try to sell something. You've got to be, you've got to ease into that, and you don't even want to sell directly on the platform of Facebook or on the platform of LinkedIn. At least that's the way I believe. But you can sell directly on your Google Business Profile and on your website too. So it allows you to get to the point much more quickly, and it allows you to really make offers right there without having to get them offline and talk to them or do it with email or all that kind of thing. So sales can be accomplished much more quickly using Google Business Profiles.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things I get out of this is that you can take advantage of the different strengths of Facebook and LinkedIn and Google Business Profile, and you can have an overall strategy. And by having that strategy, you could reach more people, and you sort of meet them where they are, really, including the other some people like Instagram and some of the other media platforms, social media. But we're mostly talking about Facebook and LinkedIn and Google Business Profile. Anyway, I'd like to invite our our buddy Betty Withrow on here. Betty is a copywriter, a writing coach, and a ghostwriter, and the three of us are working on a way of posting strategy for a company and which will cover all of these things we've been talking about. So let's get Betty's comments here and questions.
Great. Well, thanks for the welcome. And yes, I'm excited about what we're cooking up. It's going to be very dynamic, especially with this combined skill set of these three people. I mean, really, we can do something amazing. Well, I like what you said about meeting people where they are, Greg, because it speaks to the way that I put together content. That's golden apple number one in my golden apple system that I use in everything that I do, everything I create. Every marketplace has its own language. It has its own set of values, the way that people hang out. And what you really want to understand is, who are your people? What's important to them? That's probably number one. What are their values, especially when you're talking in a social media context? You want to have people feel comfortable, like they would invite you into the room to sit down and hang out with them and have a chat. That's what it's all about. That's why we call it social media, right? And so having those values in your mind as you start to construct your messaging is key. And I like when Roy is saying that, the consistency level of the different mediums and what's actually needed to get people engaged is vastly different. I did not know all these things about Google My Business Profile until just this moment, and I'm excited because it is potentially a much more economical way of reaching your audience. I mean, let's look at it that your LinkedIn and your Facebook and everything is trying to get people to your website, right? Or to schedule a time with you, or whatever that direction is. If you could put all those same steps into a one-step thing where when they click on your profile, they're there. That's pretty darn exciting. And being able to only post once a week and be able to rank in that fashion is, I think, a fantastic thing. And I agree with Roy that this is a great thing for small businesses, because with that 60% ratio, you want to be in that 3, and then there you go. You're going to be scooping up some business that you would not have had otherwise, because people will find you that would not have found you otherwise. So that's really good stuff. So yeah, I do create posting and materials for all kinds of businesses, and most business owners do not have time to cook up all those posts every week, right? 3 times a day, 5 days a week, like assuming that you take the weekend off, as many business owners do from business posting, that's still 15 posts. That's a lot of posting, right? Or 3 times a week for LinkedIn, that's a lot of posting. Now, what do? I work with the business owner to create messaging that is meeting your people where they are, positioning you as the only choice, and painting a picture of the outcomes. again, back to what Roy said, of talking about in your post, what do the people get from you? What are their deliverables that you can say, yeah, this is going to happen when you work with me? All those things go into constructing a persuasive and a strong stream of messages that gets people engaged with you and with your expertise and the results that you can provide, so that you can have a business relationship that is productive and satisfying for everybody concerned. And that is the name of the game. It's not, you don't want just that one sale. You want to have a relationship. That's, again, back to the whole thing about the kind of marketing that is happening nowadays, is that people want to know that it's you. They want to be able to say, okay, yeah, I went to Betty and she took care of me, and now I'm ready to go back to Betty the next time I need something and tell my people about her. That's what you want, is to have that kind of relationship with your market. So posting can do that in a way that other things can't do, because you're creating an actual dialogue.
That's fabulous, Betty. Thank you very much. We do have a comment from Alice in our audience here. And she says she has a Google business profile, but she might need a review to see how she's doing with it. So maybe we can talk a bit about that. Roy and I, what she's getting at is Roy and I have a review package where we take a look at your whole social media footprint, look at your website, and see if they're all working together, if your message is consistent, and then we'll make some recommendations from there. So, Roy, do you want to say a bit more about that while I put the link on the chat here?
Sure. Greg and I have a lot of experience in this, so we can tell a lot just by looking at what we find. But we also have a lot of tools that really give us information quickly. So a review is extremely important, and I'm glad that you understand that, because you can get a good look at how you're perceived by Facebook, YouTube, if you do YouTube, LinkedIn, and in my opinion, most importantly, Google, because it's just easier to get business from Google, in my opinion. But I really can't downplay LinkedIn at all. I mean, that's a wonderful place to be found. I still like to get them off LinkedIn in order to make the sale. But at any rate, when we do the review, you will understand where you are right now, and you will understand what would be good for you to improve upon in order to really be able to achieve what you're looking to do. And when Greg and I understand what it is you're trying to achieve, then we can be even more helpful, because you can go all kinds of different directions with the way you look online. In my opinion, the LinkedIn, Facebook, and Google are extremely important to look good in their eyes, because they're the ones that actually can make all this business happen for you. They can bring you to people that you would never find, as Betty mentioned before. And so that's extremely important. But also, once people find you, then it's really important that you look good to the people that were attracted to you in the first place, so that you can actually convert those people. And it may take a while. You may build a relationship with them even for years. But once you convert them to a sale of any kind, a $1 sale, it changes the whole relationship. And they could turn out to be a lifetime value client that buys from you for year after year for many years to come.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. The three of us were talking just before we went live about our practices. Like now, a lot of places you meet people are in networking meetings and groups, and all three of us, almost the first thing we do is go check out the LinkedIn profile, go check out the website, and before we make an appointment, because many of the groups say, "Well, put your calendar in the chat. I'll connect usually through LinkedIn before I'll make that appointment. But that's our practice. And just so you know, that's what people are doing. And so that's why it's important to make sure your online face is pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have an inbound calendar, so people make appointments with me, and I look them up and go, okay, what are we talking about here? And that saves us time and makes me feel like I can understand what they need before they tell me what they need, which is it's very helpful, because that's golden apple number 3, is being able to future pace the vision that you're sharing with your client and helping them build it out, understanding who they are before they tell you, and understanding what they need before they have realized it can really save everybody a lot of work and increase our ability to work together effectively as business owners. So Elise has been making some very kind comments. And
yes, we have a fan in the house.
Yeah. Yes,
we like that.
We're buddies. Yeah, we are. So that's great.
Not like last week, we got some spammers. This is the first time this has ever happened from some Russian. So it's nice to have a fan. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for being here, Elise. We appreciate you. That's great. That's great.
So I guess the other thing is come check out the offer here. I put it in the chat, but I'll put it on the screen. TotalTrafficAndConversion.com effectiveness offer. Betty and I offer a separate package where we help get your message crafted, and with a series of scripts that we turn into video that can go on YouTube. So Elise also mentioned that she has a YouTube channel. So, and I think she's interested, and she'll probably end up talking with us about how we can make all of those things work better. She also said she's got an app coming out too, so she's on it.
Oh, she's all about it. She's just so creative. I mean, her designs are beautiful. Her business sense is awesome, and not only that, but she's a very fun and loving person. So that's all good things.
All good things.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess any more questions from our audience, or any more comments from the
peanut gallery?
The peanut, exactly what I was going to say. The peanut gallery.
I just wanted to say that YouTube is actually the second largest search engine out there, so it's extremely valuable. If you can tie that in as well, if you were able to tie in Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and your 2 Google properties, you would really have something going. But you only need to do with, you can do it with 2, you can do it with 3, but you could do it with 5. So just bear all that in mind. And the more, if it's done effectively, which we can do for you, it can be very powerful. And I would just like to say that with Betty, there's something very important here, because every one of these properties, if you want to call them that, or whatever we want to call each of these things, content is the most important thing on each of them. So for Google, if you don't have a lot of good content, you're probably not going to get a lot of visitors. The same thing with posting and other things that you can do with your Google business profile. Mm-hmm. But YouTube, I mean, what you can say there, what you can teach people there, the content. And because Greg and Betty are so strong with YouTube, and I know how to rank you on YouTube, so the 3 of us can be very effective for you. YouTube is an extremely good place to go if you're video oriented, which I would hope a lot of people would consider in this day and age.
Yeah.
So further that, we're looking at, for our client, we're looking at taking a bunch of their existing content and then repurposing it. So, it may be overwhelming to say you're going to put it on 5 platforms at once, but it really isn't that hard. As Roy said, you might not put the same stuff exactly on each platform, but you're taking something similar and leveraging it. So you're not reinventing the wheel all the time. Chances are you've got maybe even have enough content right now to keep you going for quite a while. You just have to pull it out of the archives and adjust it a little bit. And Betty and Roy and I can help you edit the content for the specific purposes and help you get it out there. So yeah, reach out, make an appointment with us, chat with us, check out the offer there at the when it comes along on the little scrolly thing, totaltrafficandconversion.com/effectiveness offer. And we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thank you for anybody who took the time to watch this video.
We had a high quality audience today.
Yes. And more to come for others that see the recording. So
yeah, awesome.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.